publishing company dedicated to reducing recidivism and empowering incarcerated individuals. Who knows what recidivism is? We've had speakers, we've had writers in this program do their speech or board about recidivism. Recidivism is the phenomenon through which folks are incarcerated and then return to prison, all right, for various reasons, all right? It could be because they weren't shown enough opportunities and different things that they could do to thrive in society. It could be because they're still in the same social circles or financial situations that cause them to get caught up in the system. So recidivism is the process by which incarcerated folks return to incarceration. Some of y'all are gonna be doing speeches about criminal justice, all right? So you can learn a lot from today's speaker. A returned citizen himself, Russell has authored more than 7. Just based on the ones I got, Brother Russell, I think it's more than 7 by now. All right? But when his bio was up to date, more than 7 books of powerful poetry collection, as well as a transformative workbook and guide designed to inspire personal growth and freedom from within the prison system. Mr. Russell's mission is clear: to show that words can change lives and to help others write their freedom. So as you listen to Mr. Russell, be thinking about questions that you have for him, about his path as a writer and speaker, about his experiences, and he's modeling for you the type of speaking out about social justice that we expect from y'all. So we're gonna give him a warm round of applause, Mr. J.S. Russell.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for having me, and also for y'all understanding respect, because respect is a big thing. No matter where you are in the world, that's something that somebody will always be willing to give you when you give it to them. So, I hear we got some journalists in here, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of writers. So my writing program is Writing Freedom, and I'll tell you about that. So, anybody know how I'll get to your question in a minute. Anybody wear poetry or like poetry? Got some people that like poetry. How about rap? Something like that. Okay. All right. Well, I asked about that because I began writing because my cousin was like, "Let's write some raps," but I didn't know how to count bars, so just turned them into poems. But, however, I'll tell you a little bit about me, and I'll tell you my story using some poetry. Y'all all right with that? Okay. So, about 15 years ago, it'd be about 15 years in December. About 15 years ago, I got a call from my cousin. So he was telling me, seen some SUVs. So for me, I kind of had an idea what that meant. So I began to get myself together, come out. I heard the people saying my name coming through the house. So as I heard that, I decided to go out and meet them in the kitchen with my hands up, because I was a fugitive wanted for murder. Now, you might think, like, what? How did that happen? How did you get there? Well, I used to be in class doing nothing, time wasted, thinking about fast cash, hustling and getting wasted, committing crimes, getting off my downs by God's graces. I was unconfined because during time I couldn't face it. The only bars I was trying to deal with was in music or Fort Knox. At times it was hard to deal, so that I ain't lose it. I smoke pot, relax my mind, ease my body, and chill out, or drink licks until my emotions spilled out. I felt out of luck, out of money, and out of time. I get frustrated, want to yell, and buck the 9. Unload as the gunpowder explodes, propelling projectiles to create a bullet hole. Absorbing the heat, it's the power that I feel. The same stuff that get cowards hard to kill. But forget them, hard as standing on me. And the only reason why I was in that seat is the man I wanted to be, the things I wanted to see. But I was zoning, missing about 3/4 of the lecture. And before it was over, I'd be asleep, I bet you. Oh. So, I wrote that when I was 17.
Wow.
I'm 14, and I'm 40 years old, and I remember that because it was one of those things that I had to remember. Now, if you hear about me, I was doing some of the wrong stuff when I talked about thinking about doing that stuff in that poetry, right? So it's the wrong thinking that led me to wrong actions. Because though I was an honor roll student, I was president of NSBE, which is National Society of Black Engineers Junior Chapter. I went to Northwestern High School out there in Hyattsville. And
Oh, you went to Northwestern?
yeah.
So did I.
All right,
So
all
did
right.
I.
Well,
Was
okay.
he?
That's
So-
03.
Yeah, me too. So, I talked to you. So, I was doing this stuff, but I still was selling weed, selling cocaine in the streets because of some other issues that I had, right? So, how old are y'all? Y'all around 13, 12, right? 10, 11. Guess what? Yeah, it's a mixture. So guess what? Because of my decisions, it led me to doing 12 years in prison. That's longer than most of y'all been alive, right? That's insane. Can I get your attention? We talked about that respect thing. Did you hear what I just said?
Do you need to call?
No, did you hear what I just said?
Can you put your phone away?
See,
Can you put it in your
what I
backpack?
just said?
Yeah.
How many years I did in prison?
Yeah, you're not supposed to have your phone.
I'm sorry. See, you wasn't listening. That's why you don't know. That's why. Say if it was a test, or say if I had some money for you, you wouldn't have got the money because you wasn't listening. So, okay, that's fine. So, because of that, I did some time, right? I made bad choices that put me in the wrong place. But once I recognized that, it was time for me to go ahead and start correcting my life. And it's things like that where I begin to read a lot, start to write, you know, and that's one of the things why I say I wrote my freedom. So, in one of the places that I was at, I used to see Purple Mountain Majesties, but the condition where I seen them was a tragedy. I don't know why the caged bird sings, but I know of a caged man's dream looking at razor wide glisten. It's peace and joy seen out my barred window, inspiring hope and praise to a heavenly host. Still as violence slams the metal when my door closes that I can't open, hoping that host will let me someday go. Sooner than later, I'm in these books like they're theater, showing me scenes of something greater. Lives, culture, land, vivid knowledge that make my horizon expand. And it's beautiful colors that stretch across that at the break of dawn, letting me know there's more beyond, so just carry on. Carry on and execute, because the pursuit of happiness is my constitutional right to pursue. When I get through these bars, these gates, this hurt, my hate, RCI the beautiful. So RCI, Roxbury Correctional Institution. They call these places correctional institutions, but they're not correctional for real. You have to do the work. So you're in a place of education, right?
Yes, you are.
Are you
Yes,
taking
you
advantage
are.
of it? Are you taking advantage of it though? That's the thing. So I'm gonna tell you, because my grandmother's house is on the 4400 block of Georgia Avenue, right? So, for real. So it was a time that some things that happened when I was in middle school. How many people know what it means when those yellow or pink slips come up on the door? Anybody ever get familiar with that? What it mean? Bingo. So, rent was becoming late, stuff like that. So as a young person, between those middle school age leading up to my freshman year of high school, I didn't understand how this was having an effect on me emotionally. So I analyzed it later to understand that this was a trigger, things that gave me depression. And through my time in the writing, what you all do, right? Y'all write?
Yes.
Y'all write? The writing was therapeutic because it allowed me to release, and then it also allowed me to change the narrative. How many people know what a narrative is? What's a narrative? Somebody tell me. Anybody? You. Exactly. That's great. So, all of you as journalists, right? Your chance to control the narrative. You get a chance to tell the story from your perspective. Now, be as factual as possible. Get your facts, get your research and everything done. But you write it in a way so that you are able to tell your story, address whatever a problem is, and also, an important part that I think is offer a solution, a suggestion, something to make something better, right? So, I was able to do that with my life. Because after checking it out, seeing what was happening, what I did wrong, it's like, all right, now what do I do? So I read a lot from people that were great before me. So I said, well, how about I try what some of those guys did? Some of those women did. They read a lot, they were diligent in making sure that they were better, and a lot of them became authors themselves. So I was learning the power of words. Words can be very intentional. See, when I was younger, still writing my poems and stuff like that, I wrote one time, people should be glad that I don't own a gun. Moms would be taking trips to prison to visit her only son. I'm mad, frustrated, and discontent. The cause of me committing violent crimes and getting bent. So I wrote myself into a place that I didn't want to. Years before that actually happened. So now I would love for all of you all to be very intentional with your words. Think about how you think, how you speak to each other, how you speak to yourself, right? Because with all of this, I had to go through a lot to discover my purpose, right? Now, I want all of you all to be far greater than I am, and that's by giving. And see, now my purpose is due entirely to the Most High. My desire is strong, keeping me going, pursuing the throne because of what I'm focused on. And it's mine to own if I just get it right and keep from wrong. All it is to succeed, whatever that may be, for me is what I chose to make important to me. Taken from my experience and escapades, not fought in being a spade for cutting hearts. It's my time in the dark to make me appreciate the light. And through I fight. It increases my might and my advances alike. My feelings are right, I thought. But it's that thought brought from that burn in my gut to erupt ideas of enterprise as well as rhymes to put me in a place that I visualize on top of a vast empire with the sole purpose to inspire. To God be the glory. So, I was able to find my purpose. What was I doing there? Why was it there? I'm seeing the thing, common threads, a lot of people that look like me in prison, and it wasn't supposed to be that way. Then I had to look at it, why? I studied and found out that they said poverty is the cause of 90% of crime. How many people know what poverty is? Does somebody, let me see, what's poverty?
It's like being poor and like not affording a lot of stuff.
Exactly. So when you have that, poverty is not always just the physical thing, but it can also be a mind state. So how many people know who Michelle Obama is? Okay. So Michelle Obama wrote this book called Becoming, right? And so I read this while I was in, and she said something about where she's from, the south side of Chicago. Like the south side of Chicago could be like uptown, because you got a mixture of some stuff that go down that ain't supposed to be, but it's still a great place. So she was telling me how the culture changed, and she could feel the change and feel that poor feeling as it shifted before it was actually seen. And so I realized that I was feeling a way that affected me. And then I had to learn, how do I correct that? I have to change the way I think and the way I feel. How do I do that? I made a decision. And then once I realized that some of my writing had put me in the wrong place, then I started writing better. Making sure that I wrote myself into the places that I am. Because for real, right now, y'all seeing me, this is a blessing. I got sentenced to life or suspended for 50 years.
What?
That's a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times, and there's people that I know that's still in there fighting for their freedom. That's funny to you. But anyway, yes ma'am.
Did you actually do it?
Oh yeah, I was definitely guilty. I was guilty. Yeah, so me being out, that's why I say it's a blessing, because there's a situation where people are hurt outside of this. One second, let me finish with what I'm saying. So people are hurt by your actions or my actions, not just whoever you may have hurted or tended to hurt. There's family members and there's so much. And so I know that the collateral damage was heavy, So it was one of those things where it's like, how do I actually fight for this? And how do I get right with myself and feeling that I deserve to be out? You understand? So it comes a lot with it. Yes, sir.
You said you killed a person?
Did I say that?
Yeah.
It sounded like
Now
That sounded
listen.
like it. What'd I say?
I thought you said that you were selling drugs.
Yeah, that kind of put me in the environment and things. So listen,
Let's go
I
listen.
first said what I was charged with, which you're right on, because I said what I was a fugitive for. So that's what happened. But then I also said that yes, I was doing that too. And that's the thing that you gotta understand about environments. When you're in the wrong environment, the bad stuff can happen. You're in the right environment, the great things can happen. Yes, sir.
Did you take the plea deal?
No. What you know about a plea deal?
Sorry to see their interest.
Yeah. So, can I sell? I'm free. You see me right here. I'm not doing no wrong stuff. I'm out here trying to help. Yes, sir.
Did you spray paint on a train like Subway Surfer?
Say that again?
Did you spray paint on a train like Subway Surfer?
Nah, I wasn't a graffiti artist. No, that wasn't what I was doing. We got any more? Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, we're listening to questions too.
No, I was just telling them that I didn't plead, but since y'all interested in the plea aspect, right? And this could be something good for, I'm gonna answer a question, I'm gonna come to you, okay? This could be good for the journalism aspect, right? Because of the way how the criminal justice system is, sometimes people are very much intimidated. And sometimes they take pleas even when they're not guilty of the offense, because what they can lose to can actually get them more time. Now, in my case, right, where I was facing life plus maybe 25 years for what I was doing, if I would have took a plea deal, which my plea deal was 30 to 50 years or 40 years, which sounds insane because I hadn't even seen that much life. So it was not something that I could comprehend. I decided, because I was in the Maryland system, to fight and keep my charges, keep my rights. Because even if I lost, then I could go back on appeal, I could go for modification, things like that. Does any of that make sense? Do you have any questions about those things that I said? Yes, sir.
What did you go to jail for? Or
You rather been
Oh
listening.
my goodness.
dealer? Did you get?
No, that's not it either. You just want to call names. What's your name? 1 second. What's your name? Huh? What does it say right there? Noah? I'll call you Noah because Noah's your name. I'm not going to call you anything else. Continue on, sir.
Arthur, did you get beat up in jail?
I have got beat up before, but I did a lot more beating up than anything else. I got jumped one time. It was
So
not a
everybody be
pleasant
quiet,
experience.
is what he's saying.
Not a pleasant
Y'all fought
experience.
somebody with both hands?
No
Can
way.
we,
Yes,
can
we
we
do.
give her to the second?
She's talking. So,
Did you like behave really well and do like things that you had
exactly. So, yeah, so. She's talking, she asked me a question, I'm gonna address her question first, alright? So, that's exactly what happened, to a degree. So, because I knew when I got sentenced, instead of getting life plus 20, I got life all suspended but 50. I'm like, okay, this is a number. Let me work this down. And so I decided already before I had got the time that I was gonna change my life, I was gonna do what's right. So when I went up for a modification, the lady took a year off. But what that did for me is it gave me hope. Because I had spent, I don't know, maybe 8 years by this time in. But because she did that, now my rights reset. And I was doing everything like speaking to speaking to younger people in there. I self-published the books, like was in there doing a lot of stuff that I could better myself and make sure that I was giving back. Because it's one of those things, if you ever take anything, right? That has to be given back in some type of way. Because you'll pay a penalty with either time, money, or something else. So my decision was, because I was doing wrong, let me switch it up and do more right than good. And I actually got blessed coming through what is called the reentry. Yes, ma'am.
Have the years, have the years in prison been longer?
Yes, they could have been. I could have still been in there if it wasn't for what they've had the problem solving court, which is reentry in PG County, and they're the only county that actually offers that. But because they interviewed me after I wrote them, and I did very well with my institutional record was clean, they gave me a shot, and I just was happy for it and made sure that and they didn't regret it. Yes, sir.
You have a music video?
Nah, I got some videos though when I'm doing poetry. I should make one just for you though.
I told you to give me Can we have a student all the way over on the right hand side, Mr. Jan?
Yes. No. It can be. So there was a governor in the 90s, and in Maryland, when he said life means life, I believe it was Glendenning. That changed everything. They were capping it at a time, but now there's people that's been in there. Some of them are getting let out now after 40 years. Some of them still in there, been in there a crazy amount of time. Well, in the beginning when I told you I was a fugitive, if you're a fugitive and you run, you don't get no bail. So no, there was no bail. There was no bail because I ran. I was what they call a flight risk. So there was no bail for me. What's the second question? I didn't run from jail. I just didn't. They had to come find me to arrest me to take me.
Well, why did you do that? If they were gonna get you in there? Why did you ran off?
Do you think that I wanted to run to jail?
I mean,
I'd rather run away than run to jail. So, but actually, it was all out of fear though, because what I didn't intend to do. And,
He said he
but
was gonna take a
still,
shot.
so remember how we talked about poverty, right? So even though I may have been making some money in the street, I didn't make enough to be able to take care of my lawyer. So I most likely wouldn't have been able to have enough for no bail anyway. So those are the things. It's crazy that people commit crimes, but a lot of times people can't afford to even get representation or to get themselves out of the trouble for the crime that they commit.
I'm
It's a
sorry,
lot of-
Mr.
it's a
Jan,
lot of
one
things like
second,
that.
one second.
I don't know if we heard Serenity's second question. I think she had like a follow-up question.
I thought
Did you answer
Did you
it?
answer it?
Did you ask it?
What was the follow-up question? I'm sorry. So what about it that you wanna know?
How draining and how like stressful was it to go through these court cases from time, money, trying to find lawyers, and trying to like, is it something you know, just like push this forward or
So extreme.
like
Extreme.
how hard is it?
So it's like this, right? For trial, post eviction stuff, a lot of stuff in which I lost. It was just traumatic going through it, having to relive situations, knowing that you have the whole state against you, and if you commit a crime in DC, you got the whole country against you, because it's federal. I've been through that process too, so unfortunately, you know, it's very stressful. So then the actual process of fighting for my freedom is something where there's no way that people say this is the cookie cutter way, this is the instructions how to get out. So I had to just pretty much try everything, and in the process, I'm in there with a bunch of people that I don't care for. People that are annoying, people that just, you know, that rack the brains, I'm away from family, and it's a lot of stuff that just goes on that's very stressful. Yes, sir.
why did you do all this bad stuff?
Good question,
Explain that.
good question, good question. So, because of the situation in which we got evicted, I felt like it was up to me to make some money. So I would do that, and then sometimes I would go back to doing the right thing, but then money would be an issue, and that's why I said I identified my triggers, which, what I learned was there always will be money problems, but not to make a permanent decision for a temporary problem. You understand what that means? So I can live through the struggle for a little bit to get to the other side instead of making a decision that's going to set me back. So that was the kind of thing. The reason how the actual incident that happened that night, that came from a whole other combination of stuff. Because I didn't ever consider myself a violent person, stuff like that. But when you're in the streets, sometimes you gotta protect yourself. Like I've had a gun on the back of my head, I've been robbed before. All of this stuff is also traumatic. So when that happens to you, for me, it was a never again type of thing. So those were kind of the things that added to that. What happened that night actually though was another series of events.
And Mr. James, we're only gonna take right now a few more questions from folks who have not yet asked.
Okay.
Okay? So we have a few folks who, if you see any
Yes,
young
sir.
hasn't asked, that's helpful. Go ahead, Nick.
But good question. So that particular night, I was under the influence. The guy was under the influence. And so what ended up happening was, remember how we talked about respect?
Yeah.
He got disrespectful after a fight, and then he told me to go get my gun. So in a situation like that, and you're not thinking clear, and you in the streets, and something happens, and then you allow somebody to disrespect you, and then call you all types of names and treat you a certain way, people will continue to treat you that certain way. So that's why you shouldn't be in the streets. Yes, sir.
Who was the most important person to you while you were in prison?
Honestly, me, I mean, say person, you gotta, Jesus definitely plays. That's what I'm saying, when we talk about that, I think about that more on the spiritual level where it's like, this is what I had to learn, right?
Okay,
I had to
final
take
one.
care of me first before I did anything. So part of that was definitely getting my spirit in line, but a lot of that was learning how to do stuff because there's people around that my family had a meeting and wanted me to take the cop. Like what? No. And then there were certain things that I may have needed people to do. People abandoned me. It was a lot of hurt that I had to deal with. So I had to deal with me first, right? Because I couldn't depend on other people to do stuff. Let me get you and I'll come with you. Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you just go like to
Hey, look, I was trying to figure something out, right? I came and got me in North Carolina, and honestly, North Carolina, I ain't said nothing about no India. So, honestly, what happened is because I was in a state of being where I really couldn't think much. Then taking drugs and alcohol to try to get my mind right, I wasn't in the best way of thinking, but my plan was to get down to Florida and maybe hop on a boat or something. It just ain't happened that way.
Was it in the middle right here?
Yeah, right here, yes. Yes, it was. It was. And so I actually seen the parole after I was doing everything right. Because it was a life suspended sentence, in Maryland, they allow you to go see the parole board after 15 years. With my good time, they pushed it down to 9. So I seen them and they said, come see us again in 5 years. Now, would they would have actually gave it to me? I don't know, but I would have still been working hard to become better.
Yeah, Mr. J.S., let me close this out. If you folks want to stay behind to talk to Mr. J.S., we will let you, but we're going to start moving into our groups right after London. And I'm going to make a statement, and we want to make sure that we give him a round of applause at London. Ask your last question before a couple people stay behind. Go ahead, London.
2010, the end of it.
Was anybody born by 2010? Anybody
No.
here?
No.
Okay. All right, everybody. Mr. J.S., we appreciate it so much. I'm gonna have everyone give you a round of applause. Big reason that we have Mr. J.S. come today too. And I know that people are selecting their topics, but see how Mr. J.S. can stand up here? He can answer these questions for days. He can go on and on. He can give it to you in art form. He can give it to you in poetry. He can give you the facts, the dates, all the things. We want to make sure that the topics that you're selecting, that you feel as connected to them, and even if there's something that you don't 100% know about, we want it to be something that you're very interested in to learn about, to learn more about, to research, or it may be a potential that you have a more intimate connection to a topic because of something in your life. It doesn't have to be anything related to Mr. JS's life, right? But there might be something in your life that you feel really connected to, right? You feel really connected to animals because you've grown up with a lot of pets and you really care about how they are treated. that is something that you can research, you can talk about, you can sing about, you can look up videos. We want it to be something that you feel really passionate about, so that you can continue to do this work, write research, and talk about it, okay? We thank you, Mr. JS. We welcome you to come back. Was everyone respectful enough that you might visit us again?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Can I say one last thing?
Please.
Alright, so remember I told you how right now it's about right and freedom, right? I want you all to be very, very intentional and careful about the words that you choose. For yourself, for others, and know that you can actually write yourself into the future that you want. You understand? They say, right, that just by writing down your goals, you're 42% more likely to accomplish it. Do you understand 42% is a good amount? Because say if you had $1,000, right? 42% of that is how much? 420, good job. So that's an additional 420 you would have. So wouldn't you like that addition? Right? So start writing down your goals, start writing yourself into the future that you want to see. Because I'm telling you, it works. if you don't believe me, look, you see me right here in the flesh. I could have still been in that cage. So thank you all.
Thank you. Our students, our scholars into their rooms. If you are desperate to have a question answered by Mr. JS and you want to hang back, you can. But if you feel okay and you're ready to move, then please go towards your rooms. Mr. Edwin, can you stand by Ms. White's door? Because I'm not sure. If you are with Ms. Mattia and Ms. Leah, please go to the room. They have their hands up. If you are in this particular group, go ahead and go towards your room.
Okay, yeah.